Hello and warm welcome back to the Overwatch archived knowledge base Watchpoint O.A.K. Today we're covering my main and absolute most favourite character in the game, a pioneering medical researcher, frontline field medic and first responder, an angel heaven sent, so sit back and relax as we look at the story, history and lore of Mercy. Angela Ziegler was born in Switzerland during the Omnic Crisis, which, like the rest of Europe, suffered greatly during the Omnic advances across the continent. Her parents were both medics and volunteered at local hospitals to help treat the war wounded that flooded in each day. Sadly, as a young child, her parents were both killed when the hospital they were working in was destroyed in an air raid. Growing up amidst the Omnic Crisis and losing both parents to that terrible war gave the young Angela a profound sense of right and wrong, galvanising her moral compass. These events steered her not towards revenge, but towards a life spent helping others and advocating for peace. Angela quickly established herself as a medical prodigy, studying medicine at prominent universities. Just after the end of the Omnic Crisis, while studying in Istanbul at 14, she visited Torbjorn, who had recently lost his arm during Operation White Dome, a mission which sought to neutralise a pocket of Omnic resistance. Her visitations and friendship during Torbjorn's recovery in hospital started a lifelong friendship between the two and the wider Lindholm family. During her time studying back home in Zurich, she would visit Overwatch headquarters, seeing her friend Torbjorn and meeting other members of the organisation. After obtaining her MD and PhD, Dr. Ziegler would go on to become head of surgery at a prominent Swiss hospital, alongside pioneering advancements in medical technology. Dr. Ziegler's strong emphasis on medical research culminated in the development of applied nanobiology, which radically improved the treatment of life-threatening illnesses and injuries. This groundbreaking breakthrough would go on to attract the attention of Overwatch. It had not been long after Dr. Ziegler published her paper on nanobiotic healing that it had made its way across the desk of Commander Jack Morrison at Overwatch headquarters in Zurich. Commander Morrison saw untold potential in Dr. Ziegler's nanobiotic research to help people around the world. It had been 10 years since the end of the Omnic Crisis, and Overwatch had grown from a strike team into a global peacekeeping and humanitarian mission, and Commander Morrison saw the many possible applications for this new medical technology to improve untold numbers of lives. Dr. Ziegler, though, was initially reluctant to join. Since the death of her parents, she had been a staunch advocate for peace, and was critical of both Overwatch's ongoing armed missions and the possibility her research would just be used by Overwatch commanders to send their people into danger quicker. Despite her reservations, Dr. Ziegler knew Commander Morrison well, and knew many of the people who worked under him. She believed they wished for a better world, and found credence in that shared vision. Promised all the funding, resources and postdocs she would need for her research, Dr. Ziegler formally joined Overwatch as their head of medical research. During her years with Overwatch, Dr. Ziegler was able to help a great many people, with one notable figure being Genji Shimada. After being left for dead following an assassination attempt by his older brother, Hanzo Shimada, Overwatch had found him, and thanks to the intervention of Dr. Ziegler's research, his life was saved through nanobiotic healing and cybernization. Genji and Dr. Ziegler became good friends, the two often working late whilst the others had gone to bed, sharing many deep and meaningful conversations into the early hours. Dr. Ziegler's time with Overwatch was bittersweet in many respects. On one hand, she continued to pioneer groundbreaking research, worked closely with her friends, and was able to help the organisation achieve great good. On the other hand, she was increasingly called on to participate in missions for which her famous Valkyrie suit was developed, proving her nanobiotic technology worked. Increasingly, people wanted her shoulder to shoulder with them, and between this presence on the front lines of Overwatch and her suit, the persona of Mercy took flight, with Dr. Ziegler fading into the background. Dr. Ziegler understood the profound usefulness of the Mercy persona, how she was a symbol of hope for many in the field. It gave people a reason to hang on. However, from the front lines, Dr. Ziegler knew better than most the damage that was also being done by Overwatch, and how close it came to straying from its vision on too many occasions. Mercy was involved in several prominent deployments as part of Overwatch. She was part of the strike team that helped quell the King's Row uprisings, having argued for Overwatch to help bring medical supplies to the tens of thousands injured in the conflict. Later, she was involved in the mission to track down Talon Council member and financier Maximilian. Under the command of Sojourn, Mercy, Winston, Tracer and Genji travelled to Havana and were able to apprehend Maximilian. He would later lead them to capture Doomfist 3 weeks later in Singapore. With public distrust at an all-time high, and the governments of the world regarding them with ever greater suspicion and disdain, a massive explosion destroyed Overwatch's headquarters in Switzerland. Passed off by the United Nations as an accident, it was later revealed to have been the result of a battle between Overwatch Commander Jack Morrison and Blackwatch Commander Gabriel Reyes. In the wake of the explosion, the full scale of Blackwatch's transgressions and crimes became known, causing the last supporters and defenders of Overwatch to join calls for its dissolution. Overwatch's charter was revoked with the introduction of the Petrus Act, and the organisation disbanded. Olympia Shaw of Atlas News poignantly observed, "The world had never been more peaceful. The biggest threat to global stability and growth was, in many minds, Overwatch itself. Its time had passed." Mercy was forced to testify at the UN hearings and herself conceded that the fall of Overwatch and the rift between Morrison and Reyes had been a long time coming, and sadly, inevitable. With Overwatch disbanded in disgrace, the Mercy persona became a significant barrier, even if some still recalled it as a vision of hope. As a prominent ex-Overwatch official, Dr. Ziegler struggled with the damage to her professional reputation and insisted on being addressed by her real name, though she would still occasionally adorn her Valkyrie suit whenever innocents were in danger. Dr. Ziegler dedicated herself to helping those affected by war, travelling around the world between places like Poland, South Korea and Venezuela, although she could always be counted on to visit Torbjorn's family during Christmas. Prior to and after the recall initiated by Winston from Watchpoint Gibraltar, Dr. Ziegler spent 2 years working on the outskirts of Cairo. It was in Cairo that Dr. Ziegler received a visit from 2 unexpected guests, Jack Morrison and Anna Amari, the former having recently been injured by the Talon operative known as Reaper. Their arrival brought back many of the disquieting feelings that she had held about Overwatch. Anna's biotic rifle, for example, was made using her nanobiotic research and could as easily hurt people as it could heal them. Morrison and Anna explained they were tracking Reaper and Talon, seeking the truth behind the events that culminated in the fall of Overwatch. When asked if she would be answering Winston's recall following the attack on Watchpoint Gibraltar, Dr. Ziegler ruminated on the fact that many of the problems that lay at the heart of Overwatch remained, and unless they were addressed, it would meet a similar fate. The following day, Talon launched an attack on the Temple of Anubis, hoping to gain access to the secretive research facility and AI contained within. While Helix security engaged the Talon soldiers, Morrison and Anna pursued Reaper. Dr. Ziegler had initially urged them to let Helix handle the attack, but was persuaded that intervention was necessary because Talon was involved. She once again donned the Valkyrie suit and flew into the fray, looking for survivors, when she found a young girl, Hanan, trapped under some rubble. The young girl recognised Dr. Ziegler as Mercy, with the doctor observing to herself that she didn't mind being called Mercy in this situation, because it was again useful to inspire hope. With the aid of her biotic staff, Hanan's wounds were healed, and explained her brother was also trapped under the collapsed building. Descending into the collapsed structure, they found her brother. Although he was freed, the building started to collapse around them. Dr. Ziegler used her suit and body to shield the brother before losing consciousness. When Dr. Ziegler regained consciousness, she was being helped out of the rubble by Morrison and Anna, who reassured her that the children were safe. Later, Morrison and Anna were preparing to leave in pursuit of Reaper and Talon and asked if she would like to join them. Dr. Ziegler responded that, "I can't stay here, but I can't go with you either. were heading in different directions. Later that day, Dr. Ziegler reflected on her past with Overwatch, the hope and optimism it had once inspired in her and in others. She mused that we must each face our everyday challenges, and that while at times our will to fight is worn down, it always returns, and that heroes never die. It would be a while later in Paris that Dr. Ziegler would again make an appearance, this time fully embracing the persona of Mercy. She came to the aid of Winston, May and Tracer as they faced off against Null Sector forces that were attacking the city. Descending from the skies like an angel, or Valkyrie, heaven sent, she helped May, who had been badly injured in the fighting. Together, the former agents of Overwatch were able to bring down the Null Sector Titan and neutralise the remaining forces in the city. It was here that Winston declared that Overwatch was back, and Mercy proudly took her place once more at the shoulders of her colleagues and friends. The team returned to Watchpoint Gibraltar, and there set out rebuilding Overwatch, with that facility serving as their headquarters. Mercy and Winston observed that Null Sector attacks were increasing, but that trouble was cropping up all over the world, and they would need to fight one city at a time if they were to be of any use, observing that a lot of lives are riding on what we do next. Thank you so much for watching Watchpoint O.A.K. We hope you enjoyed the video. We're super excited to be back and to welcome Squidey and TonyRayUK to the team, covering Overwatch League and visual design for Overwatch respectively. You'll be seeing a lot more Overwatch content from us going forward, and we can't wait to share it with all of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and invest some talents in the bell icon if you'd like to get notifications of when we post new videos, and to share this video with your fellow Overwatch or Talon agents. You can follow us on Twitter for more Overwatch lore tidbits and updates, along with some fun facts about Overwatch League and the art of Overwatch. Until next time, heroes never die.